This lecture will cover Big Idea 1, Standard 1, and our topic for today is the basics of atomic structure. So we're going to be talking a lot about atoms. Atoms are just the smallest unit of an element. So if we have the element oxygen, it is made up of tons of oxygen atoms. So atoms are just that smallest unit that makes up an element. The unit that we are going to talk about for the mass is what we call the atomic mass unit, AMU. So the atomic mass unit is the unit used to express the mass of atoms or subatomic particles. And we'll talk about those in just a second. So if you're measuring something, we might say it is 10 pounds, or maybe it's 5 grams. So why wouldn't we use pounds or grams to represent the mass of an atom? Well, the reason is because one atomic mass unit is equal to 1.66 times 10 to the negative 27th kilogram. So that's decimal point 26 zeros. That's very, 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 very small. So since atoms are so small, it doesn't make sense to use something like a gram or a kilogram or a pound to represent its mass. So instead we use something called the atomic mass unit. So we said we're going to use atomic mass units to represent the mass of atoms or subatomic particles. We talked about what atoms are, but what are subatomic particles? Subatomic particles are the smaller parts that make up an atom. And there are 3 of them. So up first is the proton. A few things you should know about our subatomic particles: where are they located, what is their approximate mass, and what is their charge. So protons are located in the nucleus. The mass. The mass of a proton is approximately 1 atomic mass unit. And protons are positively charged. So that should be easy to remember because proton and positive both start with P. So protons are located in the nucleus. Their mass is approximately 1 atomic mass unit, and they are positively charged. The second subatomic particle is called a neutron. Neutrons are also located in the nucleus. Protons and neutrons have approximately the same mass. So the mass of a neutron is also approximately 1 AFU. Protons are positive, neutrons are neutral. Neutral just means no charge. So protons are positive, neutrons are neutral. So if this is the nucleus of my atom, in the nucleus, I'm going to have some protons, and I'm also going to have some neutrons. There is one more subatomic particle, and that is the electron. The electron is not found in the nucleus. Electrons are located in the electron cloud. Electrons have virtually no mass, about 0 AMU, virtually massless. And electrons are negatively charged. So the electron cloud is going to be the area outside of the nucleus. We're going to talk about how to draw atoms, and we're going to talk about what these different rings are in a later lecture. But for today, you should be able to identify the location of each subatomic particle. So we have protons and neutrons in the nucleus. We have electrons out in the electron cloud. Lastly, before we move on, I just want you to be familiar with some of the notation that I use. So for protons, neutrons, and electrons, we can represent them with just a lowercase letter. P for proton, N for neutron, E for electron. But then we also want to include their charge. So protons are positively charged. So P plus represents proton, N 0, since they have no charge, for neutron, and E minus for electron. So be aware of those and be familiar with those abbreviations. All right, continuing on with atomic structure. So the nucleus, we can see based on our drawing, is that the nucleus is located in the center of the atom. The nucleus is overall positively charged, which should make sense. Think about the subatomic particles are in the nucleus. We have protons, which are positively charged, and neutrons, which are neutral. So if you have 5 positive charges and 5 neutral charges, the nucleus is overall positively charged. We also describe the nucleus as dense. And what we mean by that is it contains most of the mass. So most of the mass of the atom is concentrated in the center of the nucleus. And again, that should make sense based on the subatomic particles that are found there. In the nucleus, I have protons and neutrons. Protons have mass. Neutrons have mass. Electrons are outside of the nucleus, and electrons do not have mass. So most of the mass is centered right in that nucleus. Let's talk about the area outside of the nucleus. The electron cloud. The electron cloud is the area surrounding the nucleus. The electron cloud is overall negatively charged. The electron cloud has electrons in it. Electrons are negative, so the electron cloud is negatively charged. The electron cloud consists mostly of empty space. All right, so we're going to stop there for our intro into atomic structure. Next lecture, we're going to get a little bit more into protons, neutrons, electrons, how they affect the identity of the atom, how they affect the mass of the atom.